Morning everyone, Fiona Whitten from Oakfield Crafts here, and thank you for joining me today. What am I doing today? Oh yes, we're getting to that time of year where people are obviously running around sorting out all their Christmas shopping, both for gifts and for Christmas Day itself, all the food and things. And I just wanted to share with you a couple of my favourite ideas for some gift packaging. Now, as a paper crafter, and I'm sure a few of you can relate to this, I have lots and lots and lots of cards that sit in a box, which, yes, I do send them, but I still have an awful lot. So one of the things that I like to do this time of year is to package them up, and I'll then gift them to neighbours and family and friends and all sorts of people. And that means that they've then got a gift that they can then use next year. So I've got here two of my piles so far. I mean, I have got enough probably to make about 40 boxes, but don't worry, I am not going to be doing that today. So I've got my pile of cards. The one thing that you must remember to do, of course, is include the envelopes. Bit of a disaster if you're just sending cards and no envelopes. So that is a must. And the packaging that I'm going to share with you today, you will find in the main catalogue on page 137. So I'm going to share my two favourite, which are the acetate boxes. And you get 10 of those for £6.50, and they're great for the cards, obviously, because they're designed to hold them. And also these mini paper pumpkin boxes, and you get 10 of those for £7. And these are great for putting in note cards. Obviously you can use them for all sorts of other things, but that's primarily what I use and what I put in them. So I'm just going to share the details. So the acetate boxes come flat packed like this. So it's just a question of taking one out of the packet, and I would actually put these together before you start decorating them. Some people say you need to decorate before you put them together, but not me. I much prefer to put them together first, mainly because you do have to sort of like squeeze them and make sure that things are in alignment. So the first thing to do is to make sure that you've got your sides up. Then you need to sort out your top and your bottom flap. So you've got two little pieces here, top here, that go in, and then you've got the larger flap. So you need to make sure that you give this a really good press down, because you don't want it to be springing open every 5 minutes. Can be a bit fiddly, but you just need to make sure that you give them a really good crease, and then they will then sit pretty solid. She says, just got to put that in. Now, it's up to you whether you want to seal one end or the other. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So that's one end, and then don't forget to do the other as well. So I'm just making sure that this has got a really good crease on that, and then on this, like so. Now I find, depending on how I'm using my packaging, sometimes it's easier to put all your cards in. First off, you can then make sure that they all fit, and secondly, it gives you a sturdy base to then start decorating. But if obviously it depends very much on whether you want to decorate the outside or decorate the inside. And so there are two ways. Well, it's more than two ways, but those are the two ways that I will quite often do it. So I'm just going to quickly, let's see, where did I put my envelopes? That would be, there we go. Depending on the thickness of your cards will very much depend on how many will go into your box. So I just like to, some of them I will put in slot the envelopes into them. You'll recognise some of these cards. They're being made at Card and the Cuppa, or I've done a video, or they're ones that have been made in class. So that's 3. And I like to give oops, that one's not even finished off, so that's no good. Let's do that one. And also putting your envelopes with the cards gives you a good opportunity to make sure that you do actually have insides, which I don't on that one. Yeah, so that's okay. So I've got here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's probably enough because, as I said, it depends on the thickness of your cards. These have all kind of got dimensionals on them. So in fact, I may only put 4 in to start off with. And I like to put them in so that if I'm just doing a simple decoration on them, then people can see what's the front card. I don't tend to worry about the back card at the back. So there's 4 cards with 4 envelopes in there. But as I said, they have they're quite busy because they've got lots of dimensionals on them. So they're quite thick. None of those will go as a standard card. So that's my finished box, like that. And then the next thing you need, and that old adage about, you know, measure twice, cut once, is very true when it comes to decorating the boxes. So I'm going to, for this one, I think I'm going to actually put some DSP around it completely. So I'm just measuring quickly. Now, sometimes it's easier to measure 3D things in inches than it is in centimetres. So I know that it's 4.5 inches wide. So let's make a note of that. And obviously all boxes, so it's 4.5 wide by, I suspect that's not quite a half. No, it's more than a half. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 eighths. So that's 4 and 4 eighths to do that. So that's all in 2. So we've got 4. So that's 4 and 10 eighths. This is where you get to see me actually working things out. So that is actually 5 and 2 eighths. 5 1/4 times 2. So that's 10.5. And then I want to have a little bit of an overlap, so I'll add another half an inch on. So that's going to be 11 inches by 6.5. So this way, my paper's going to go all the way around it. Now, depending on what you want to do, I'm not actually going to use Christmas paper, any of my designer series paper. What I am going to use, though, is the rather nice Expressions in Ink paper, because I know there's some of these in here that have, first of all, they have some gold foiling on them, so that makes them special. And also, some of the colours are quite Christmassy anyway, so that's what I'm going to do. And I just need a trimmer, which I tidied away. There we go. So I need to pull the arm out for this. So I need it to be, as I said, 11 inches. So of course this is 12 by 12 paper. 11 inches by, let's do this again, 6.5. And then obviously you can decide what you want to do, whether you want the darker piece or the lighter piece showing. And I'm just going to use the darker piece. There'll be a bit of a light piece on it. Now, some people like to actually put creases in these. I don't, simply because it's just as easy to do it this way around. So I'm going to make sure for a start that I want it to start and finish on the back. So I'm going to start at the back. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a piece of my tear and tape to fix that on, so that I know it's not going to move anywhere. Obviously you can tear it to the right length, which I didn't do. I want to be neat, so I'm just going to cut this piece off. And so I'm just going to fix this on here. Try and get it on straight, like so. And then I'm just going to fold it around. And then I just need another piece of tear and tape on that end to then hold it down. You can put some in the middle if you want to make sure that it's going to not go anywhere. But by doing it this way, as you can see, as you fold it around, you are in effect putting your own creases in, so you don't have to worry too much about trying to put a score in and then finding that it's actually not quite in the right place. And I'm using tear tape simply because it's the strongest and the least messiest, because I don't really want if I use glue, that'll just go everywhere, and that's really not what I want to do. I want to try and keep this as neat and tidy as possible. So I'm just going to touch the lid from my Take Your Pick tool. It's just decided to go for a walk. There we go. I obviously didn't cut that straight enough, but that's okay. So that's the front of my box. You might want to trim a bit. I just noticed that mine's got a little bit sticking out there. And you can just simply use your paper snips just to trim off any excess that's hanging over. There we go. There we are. And then it's up to you how you want to decorate it. You can put a belly band on it. You can put a whole piece of Whisper White or green. So this is Shaded Spruce, Pear Pizzazz. There's a whole mixture of the greens in this. You can stamp an image and then put it on. But I'm going to, let's see, I think I might put a belly band on. Now for the belly band, I'm just going to use normal cardstock. And I put that here somewhere. Let's see, I'm going to use some Shaded Spruce. And I've also got this piece left over from my paper, so I'm going to use that as well. So this should be about an inch. Yep, that's an inch wide. So I need to cut this to be an inch and a quarter, I think. Like so. Now I know that this is not going to meet in the middle. Actually, no, it's not. I lied, it does. I forget about that because it's a bit more than that. So again, I think I'm going to have it meeting at the back because then I don't have to worry about it. And again, I'm not going to worry about putting any scores in here to fix it on. I just need, what I am going to do is, now that I know roughly where the belly band is going. I'm just going to put that one on so it's a nice neat one at the top. I'm going to put another one on here, like so. So I did sort of score it in the end, but just by using my hands. And then that's going to meet here. So again, we're going to put some tear and tape on. This time I'm going to go that way. First of all, to hold one piece, and then I will put a piece on the other side. And obviously you want to try and pull it tight, but not so tight that you're going to crush the box and the contents. That's that piece. So now I've got my belly band on, and I can now put on the other piece of paper that was left from when I was cutting the piece to go on the front. So that will go on here. Now this one I will actually put some tape on the front to hold it, I don't really want it to move around too much. These boxes are really pretty simple to decorate, and it's really up to you what you want to use. As I said, I'm not going for Christmas paper, but I'm going for sort of Christmassy colours, simply because I want to give these as gifts for Christmas. Just putting the last bit of tear and tape on. Like so. And if you don't want to use double-sided paper, you can of course just create a belly band to put on the box, like similar to this, and you can make it as wide as you want. You can make it wider and then put some, as I said, designer series paper on it, or whatever. The other alternative to this is, rather than having this on the outside, you could in fact put it on the inside. And if you were to do that, you would cut it so that it measured from here, from that edge, all the way round and back again, so that it was like open-sided. You wouldn't actually stick it together. Did I take the? I didn't put. I thought I put some stuff on there, but that's okay. So yes, it's really up to you. Now that I've finished that, I need to create a tag. Now we have lots of punches that can be used to create a tag. We have dies that can be used to create a tag, and so the punches you will find on pages 147 through to 150. So there are some that are designed specifically to make tags, such as the fancy tag topper and the delightful tag topper. There are things like the elegant tag that you can use, which again is a punch, or you can use the tailored made tags, which are dies, which you'll find on page 166. Mine are still winging their way over from Germany. That was one of the items that I bought in the sale the other day because we had the 20% off. So I made the most of that and bought those. So I'm just going to stick with some with the tags, and I just want to show you a couple of ideas. So I have, this is the elegant tag, which has got a fancy top, which is very pretty, and a curved bottom. Now, some people may say, okay, well, that's a bit too small. I want something slightly bigger than that. And I'll show you a simple way to do that. First of all, you need to cut some cardstock that is just slightly less than the width of the punch here, the hole for the punch. So I'm going to do that. Now I know that because I measured it, that it's actually 1 5/8 of an inch wide, which is slightly over 1 3/4. So if I cut it at 1 3/4 inches, which is precisely what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use this side. So there's 1. So there's 1 3/4, or 4.4 centimetres. So this now is just slightly narrower than this part of this inside of the punch. So what you're going to do then, once you've got that, you're going to then take your piece of card and you are going to slip it inside the punch. You can see that it just fits neatly, and you're going to just move it so that it's in, and you can then let's see, I don't think it's quite far enough yet. There we go. Obviously if I keep pushing it will come out the end, but I don't need to do that. So I'm just going to now punch down like so. So there's my end. I just need to get that bit out, which I don't need. Now, let's see, how big do I want this? I think I want it to be about here. So I'm going to trim this down slightly. And by using your punch this way, you can make your tag, your label, any length that you want. So it doesn't have to be a short one like this. And in fact, instead of doing that and then that, you could have this both ends and then use it to go on the top there. But I am actually going to use it as a tag. So put that down again, and I'm going to slide that in. I hope you can see this. It can be a little bit fiddly. Sometimes you think, well, maybe I should have cut it a little bit narrower. Come on, you. Oh dear. I don't really want it. There we go. Once it starts going, it's fine. It's the getting it to start going. Right. So that is that. Make sure it's kind of straight. There we go. So there's my tag that I'm going to put on there. And then what I think I might do is I want to decorate the tag. And you can do that. You can just decorate directly onto here, or you can cut a piece of cardstock that would fit in here. So let's see. As I said, when you're doing these things, it's something your best friend is your ruler. So I'm going to cut a piece that is 4 centimetres wide by, let's see, 10. So I'm going to cut a piece of basic white that is 4 by 10. It's also a good way of using up your scraps, but I just realised that I don't have my scraps with me, so I am just simply going to cut this. Actually, I'm going to do it in half so that I know I've got half a sheet that I can use for a card. So I'll do that by 10, because then I know I can get a few out of this. Right, so there's my 4 by 10. I'm going to do that end because I would like it to have a curved base. So it's just a question of centering it in here. Is that right? It's like that. So that will then fit in here, like so. Now it's a little bit too long, so I need to actually shorten it by probably about 1/2 centimetre. Let's just take that half a centimetre off, like so. There we go. So now I can, well, I could round that corner. I could see, do I want to do the same thing the other end as well? No, I'm going to leave it like that. So now it comes to stamping, and the question is, what do I want to stamp? Obviously, being Christmas, you could stamp a Christmassy image. I'm actually going to use the Words of Cheer image because it's sort of Christmassy without being too Christmassy. And I am going to use some shaded spruce ink. Now I could simply stamp it in Memento and then colour it with all the greens, but I'm just going to use the shaded spruce. That obviously much depends on what I want to have on here. I'm going to do it that way. Let's take that off. So that's going to be like that. I obviously didn't ink stuff very well. Also, these are it's a photopolymer. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to use my Stampin' Pierce mat, like so. And I need a bit of scrap. Let's see. Use a post-it note. Things I can't find some scrap at the moment, just so that when I stamp off it doesn't go everywhere. Let's see if this works better now. So being photopolymer, it doesn't have the same give as the cling mount stamps, so you do actually need to have something with a little bit of a give underneath. You know what, that's just going to be too much of a pain. Let's see if it works any better. Now I know I'm going to end up with it on my Stampin' Pierce mat. So be it. Give it a good press in the middle. There we go. That's better. As I said, got half a bit of an image there. So that is going to go on there. Now, as I said, I could colour it if I wanted to. You could, of course, use Versamark and then gold embossing powder to do it, and that will then obviously tie in with the gold on the box there. Now, I've got some Stampin' Right markers, so I'm just going to just colour in some of this. Stampin' Right markers are okay for colouring in small images, not necessarily the bigger ones, simply because they streak. They're not alcohol markers, so they don't blend. So wherever you put the pen, sometimes it leaves a line. So I don't tend to use them too often. I'm going to put some red on these. I'll just bring in some real red just to make it a little bit more Christmassy. Oops, there's some round ones there. So I place spot the round. What else should we put in? That's got some. So I've picked out all the colours or the greens that are in the Expressions and Ink paper. So this is Evening Evergreen. So it's a darker green to shaded spruce. I'm going to leave the flowers white, I think. Looks like it's a bit of a red there. And I'm going to use some mint macaron, I think, just to do these frondy leaf bits. See a leaf and just colour it. And I think that's going to be it. The rest of it is pear pizzazz. Where's that? I think I might end up doing the holly leaves pear pizzazz. Now this is where you will see what I mean by it's streaking, because it won't leave a perfectly blended image. Is there any more of those leaves? I think that's the only one actually, that holly leaf there. But actually on holly leaves it's not so bad because you kind of want streaky bits. Right, so I've got some white poinsettias. I'm going to put that on there. Now which way does this go? Just that way. So I'm going to glue that on. Those edges down. There we go. God, this has taken me a bit longer than I thought it was going to. But at the end of the day, once you've done one, it kind of, you can do all the prep and then just put them all together at the same time. So there we go. And I think this needs a bit of gold ribbon on it just to tie it in. And I'm going to put some of this lovely gold. How wide is it? It's 1 centimetre wide, so it's 3/8 of an inch. So it's just, they call it shimmer ribbon, so it's gold shimmer ribbon, and I think I might just tie it in a bow around that at the top. Oops. I'll hide that join there. And in fact what I might do is I might move it down and then I'll slide it up when I'm ready. So you don't have to tie it in a bow. If you want to just tie it in a knot, that works as well. Whatever's easiest for you. A lot of people simply just put a straight piece of ribbon on, and then rather than tying a bow, they will just tie a bow separately and then add it on. I'll put that on there. Play around with it a bit. That's it. Finish off the ends. Like so. Actually, one end's longer than the other, but. And then we're going to add that. So you can add it at an angle. You can add it straight. It's really up to you. But I'm just going to add some dimensionals to that. And then I'll finish it off in a second with some gems. And we will be done with that. My dimensional backings very easily come off this. I'm going to put one here just that holds the ribbon in place, so it's not going to slide around. This is where I find that it's actually moved around. So we've got the gold that ties in with the gold on the paper. Just going to neaten that off because that was too long. Sorry for my arm getting in the way. And then I'm just going to finish off with some gold gems, some gilded gems, just to continue the gold theme. These come in varying sizes on the one sheet, so you get 90 in 4mm, 5mm and 6mm diameters. But I seem to only have the large ones left. I've got one small one. You can even put them in the centre of the flowers. I think that one's too big. Yeah. So, don't really want to mix and match my gems, so I'm just going to stick with that one down here. So there we go. So that is, actually, you know what? Could, of course, simply put one up here, 2, and now I've got an even number. Does anybody else get bugged by even number of gems? There we go. Put another one on. Then I've got 5 and I'm happier. So that's that box. So I said it's a clear acetate box. This has now got 1, 2, 4 cards in it, which I will gift to one of the neighbours. I've already taken up 40 minutes of your time, so I think I will end here, and I will share I will do actually a video, and I will share that of the small paper pumpkin boxes and what you can do with those. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing that. Don't forget, at the moment we've got a great offer on the starter kit, so if you are interested in getting your Stampin' Up goodies at a discount, then why not think about joining the Acorns. And at the moment, till the end of the month, you can choose £130 worth of goodies for £75, and it will ship to you for free. Obviously, if you are looking to set up a business, a crafting business, then that's great, but you don't have to. And because the starter kit also contains catalogues and things, so great for setting up your own business. So if you'd like more information about that, let me know. And in the meantime, thank you for watching, and I will see you at Card and a Cuppa next Wednesday morning. That's the 1st of December, and then I will be live on Facebook again at 2:30 in the afternoon, where I'll be sharing some more Card and a Cuppa cards, and I'll be making one live. All right, well, take care and have a good week. Bye.